If you look at 5 and 6 to begin with, I would like to go forward and help you understand. They are based on two different types of question making. Okay, two different types. So if you look at the types that we are looking at, question number 5 and 6, one question, it's an important question that it looks at least and most effective, but the type is very interesting for me. Okay, it says in your office you've been asked to work on a project. Your senior has suggested that it might be useful to work with an expert from other department. So this is a very conflicting case that we've already read it. Okay, another department has already done this kind of projects before. You had earlier worked with this person and found him to be rude and unreliable, though he has some good insights to offer. So this rude and unreliable is kind of an issue for you. Okay, but the important fact is he's an expert. He's coming from another department. He has already done this kind of projects before. So he's got experience. So he's an expert. He's already done this project, and your senior has suggested this person to work with you. Obviously, there is no compulsion on your end to go forward and work with him. Okay, there's no compulsion from your end to go forward and work with him. Because you had worked with him earlier, you have this feeling that he is rude and unreliable, but you also agree that he has good insights to offer. Okay, you have shared this feedback with your supervisor, and he said that you can take the call. So the supervisor has nothing to do with your decision making. Supervisor already done his part in terms of introducing you to him, and now it's up to you. Okay, the goal here is to take a call. What is the call? The call about including the expert or not. Okay, now the whole question set talks, if you look at the answer options, okay, it looks at start, in between, finish and all that. So if you look at any project life cycle, you have a starting point and you have an ending point, start and finish, right? You have a start and finish. So the start of the project might be creating the documents, taking care of the requirements, understanding what the scenario might be, getting all the basics right, the building blocks right. Then you start allocating different kinds of work to different experts. You start developing the project. If I'm looking at IT sense, you start making the design. Then you start, after your requirements are documented, you start designing the whole project, the framework, and then you start creating plans to ensure that your design is well tested, your requirements are well tested, and then you start developing the project by writing code in C or C++ or Java, and then towards the end you will start using the test cases that you have created before to test this particular code. Finally you will deliver it in some time, right? That's the whole thing. Now if you don't have idea about what these requirements are, for example, you're not from the airline industry and you're trying to understand the requirement, you're obviously going to need the help of an expert. That is one scenario. Or the scenario 2 can be, instead of requirements, in the design phase where you're supposed to design the technical aspect of it, you've not done such a big design, you might need an expert's advice. Or finally you are an expert collector of requirements, you are an expert in terms of translating this requirement from a Word document to a technical design aspect, but you're a bit rusty in terms of sitting and developing code. So you might need some people who are experienced in code development, and then finally you might not be that patient to do testing yourself. You might need someone to do the testing. So I'm saying start to finish, there are so many different aspects or phases that can come in where you're supposed to do this kind of a completion of your whole project. Okay, which is going to be key and elemental in terms of getting the project done. So if you go forward and tell me that you will decide when and where to call the expert, you had to have one particular information with respect to this expert in hand, which will help you understand where this expert's expertise is in. So where is he going to be maximum utilized, right? So because of that, I would like you to look at these answer options accordingly based on this particular information that I'm going to go ahead and give you. So as I was telling, these answer options are going to be very important in terms of the decision that you'll make regarding this particular expert's intervention. You read any of the answer options, first answer option if you start with, okay, I hope you have read the answer options by now, but if you start with the first answer option, what you're telling is involve this expert from the beginning and try to ignore his negative traits. So what you're telling here is, let us bring this guy right from the beginning and ignore his negative traits. So is a negative trait like being unreliable or rude ignorable? That is something that is very personal, and this is an emotional decision. Obviously, some